The most important trophy in football was once saved by a dog named Pickles, not a detective, not the police. A small black and white dog, sniffing under a hedge in suburban London, found a treasure that the entire nation had lost, that Scotland Yard could not recover, and that had humiliated a country on the eve of its greatest sporting moment. It sounds like a children's story, but every word of it is true, and the real story is even stranger than that. In 1966, England was about to host the World Cup for the first time. The whole country was buzzing, and to build excitement, the tournament's trophy, the solid gold Jules Rimet Trophy, was put on public display at a stamp exhibition in central London. It sat in a glass case guarded for everyone to admire. The most precious object in world football, on show in Westminster. Then, one Sunday, it vanished. On the 20th of March 1966, thieves slipped into the building, bypassed the guards, and stole the trophy right out of its case. The guards were there. The security was in place, and still, somehow, the most famous prize in the sport simply disappeared. England, the proud host nation, had lost the World Cup trophy before the World Cup had even begun. It was a national embarrassment of staggering proportions. The country panicked. Scotland Yard launched a huge investigation. The newspapers screamed about the humiliation. And then came a ransom demand. Someone contacted the football authorities asking for £15,000 in return for the trophy. A suspect was eventually arrested in connection with the plot. But the trophy itself was still missing, and the police were no closer to finding it. The gold was gone, and the clock was ticking toward the tournament. Then came the most unlikely hero in sporting history. A week after the theft, a man named David Corbett was taking his dog for an evening walk in Upper Norwood, in South London. His dog, a lively black and white mongrel named Pickles, suddenly became interested in something wrapped in newspaper lying under a garden hedge. Corbett bent down, tore away the paper, and found himself staring at a heavy gold statue with the words engraved on its base. He was holding the Jules Rimet Trophy. His dog had found the most wanted object in the country. Think about the odds of that. The entire police force of London had failed, and a dog on a routine walk had succeeded, by pure instinct and pure chance, sniffing out solid gold under a suburban bush. Corbett handed the trophy to the police, and at first, incredibly, he was treated as a suspect himself. But he was quickly cleared, and both he and his dog became overnight national celebrities. The trophy was safe. The tournament could go ahead, and Pickles became a star. The little dog was showered with rewards. He was given a year's supply of dog food. He received medals. His owner collected a reward of several £1,000s, which, in a detail the newspapers adored, was more than some of the England players would earn for actually winning the tournament. Pickles was invited to celebrations, appeared in a film, and was, for a brief and glorious moment, one of the most famous animals in the world. And then, that summer, England won the World Cup. In July of 1966, England lifted the very trophy that Pickles had rescued, defeating West Germany in the final at Wembley. It remains, to this day, the only time England has ever won a World Cup. And the golden prize they held aloft, the one at the center of the greatest day in English football history, had been missing just months earlier, saved not by the authorities, but by a dog under a hedge. But here's the final twist. The Jules Rimet Trophy, the one Pickles saved, did not have a happy ending. Years later, in 1983, it was stolen once again, this time in Brazil. And on that occasion, there was no Pickles. It was never recovered. Most people believe it was melted down for its gold, gone forever. The trophy that a small dog once pulled from under a London hedge had survived one theft, only to vanish for good in another, decades later, on the other side of the world. So the next time you watch a team lift a World Cup trophy, remember how fragile these symbols really are. The most important prize in football was stolen from under the noses of trained guards, hunted in vain by an entire police force, and saved against all odds by an ordinary dog on an evening walk. History turned for a moment on the curiosity of an animal who had no idea what he had found. The most important trophy in football was once saved by a dog named Pickles, and now you know that the story of how it was lost and found and lost again is stranger than anything the game itself has ever produced. If this made you smile, subscribe, and never take an ordinary walk for granted again.